Hey everybody, welcome to It's in the Cards. I want to welcome all the new faces out there that are in the chat room. Thanks for joining me tonight. As you saw prior to me coming on, Penn is sponsoring a fantastic weekend, the first weekend in May. Friday and Saturday, the 2nd and 3rd at the Shanley Hotel in New York. The hosts that are able to go will be there. I'm making an attempt to get there. I'm still trying to arrange whether or not I will be there. Eric and Kim, of course, will be there. Mary, which is Kim's co-host on Monday evening on Just Saying, will be there. Mary will also be one of the speakers and the presenters that will be there, one of many. If you also have anything that you sell would be going and interested in vending, there's table spots available in which to do that with. And all of the information can be found on the website, which is Penn Events, PENEVENTS.webs.com. You can go there and get all the details on it. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm trying everything I can do to arrange to be there. There'll be also chances and donations being given. One of the chances, I know I donated a free 15-minute phone reading that you'll be able to buy chances for, along with whatever other things are being offered by the hosts and other vendors. The tickets and the rooms are starting to sell out already, so you want to get on it. May will be here quicker than you know it. Seems like it's way off in the distance, but you don't want to miss out on this. It's going to be fantastic. So I wanted to just let you all know a little bit what all that was about that you saw prior to me coming on. Hope everybody had a great week. And with that, I have a great guest. We have the phone lines open tonight for your phone calls if you'd care for a quick reading. We ask that you have a specific question for that, for the time restraints that we have. Or if you would just like to say hello and chat for a bit, that will be all right as well. I want to bring on my guest tonight, who is Bridget, or better known by most as Biddy Tarot at biddytarot.com. Bridget, hi.
Hi, Misha. How's it going?
Great. How about you?
Yeah, good. And I just want to say hello to all of our friends who are either in the chat room or watching. And you've all got great names right now. Wuggy Lips, Wookie Darling, Psychic Candy. Well, I'm assuming someone's added their name there. Or Dip Cute, Love a Dip. Yeah. It's great to see you all.
I know, Psychic Andy. Okay. Hey, she made it. For those that may not be familiar with Bridget, which I can't imagine anybody that does tarot knows her, or at least has been on her site. I know her site was the very first site years ago that I was using, and I did that because, as I've said in past shows, for those learning the cards and wanting to know, how do you know it's right, the right meanings, how do you learn 78 cards, I used her site hoping that I would get, maybe somebody else's different perspective on the cards, but it turned out, for the most part, Bridget's views and write-ups and things on the cards and stuff are very, very similar to what I was already doing. So that was very neat. But she has big, large write-ups for the cards and their meanings, and fabulous explanations for them. So if you have not ever been to her site and you're starting out and you're wondering, am I doing it right? What about meaning of a specific card? Everybody has a card or two that just gives them trouble. Her site is the #1 recommended site that I tell people to go to and check out. She is an author. You're very welcome. It's the truth. She is an author. She has several books that she's written, ebooks. So anybody can get access to them. Her most recent one, which was fabulous, was Tarot Foundations, and that was for instead of just, a lot of books out there is just a matter of reading the people's meanings, interpretations, things like that. And what Biddy did with this particular one is something that people should get in the habit of doing. She explains how to keep a tarot card journal. It's hands-on. It's not just a matter of reading about each card. It's getting one-on-one, personally involved and connected with the cards through hands-on work with grading homework and things like that. So it's set up to be done at your own pace. It was set up to do something a day and have it learned in 30 days. But as she explains in the book, you might take a couple days on something, or even life just gets in the way and you can't work on it one time. So that is her latest book. That is Tarot Foundations. She's also done the Ultimate Guide. She holds tarot webinars. She teaches master classes. She is going to be starting something new for 2013, and that is tarot business coaching. Let's start with that, since that's your newest class that you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's really exciting. It's it's sort of just something that has really just clicked in just the last week or so. When I started out I started reading in sort of 1999, or even a little bit earlier than that. That's actually when I went online in 99. And I literally was self-taught. So I had a book. I had my cards, and I just went crazy trying to learn all the different meanings possible and all different spreads. And, I was just so thirsty and hungry for more information so that I could pick up these cards and start reading. So I've really been on a journey that I think so many people go on, where they sort of start with just those deck of cards, and they really make their own way towards understanding what the cards mean and how to use them. And then, a few years after I started, I was offering free readings to strangers. So through the Free Tarot Network, which is through the American Tarot Association. And in that way, you could offer free readings, build up your experience, get feedback and mentoring along the way. And once I felt really confident after that period, I started to charge quite a nominal fee, I suppose, for my readings. And it was really from there that, gradually my confidence increased. The feedback I was getting was getting much better. And over time I felt more confident charging higher prices. And now my business has just flourished like ridiculously. I'm so lucky and so blessed. And in the last 6 months, I've been able to quit my, 6-figure corporate job and become a full-time tarot professional. So, it's sort of been quite a dream journey, I suppose, for me. And I've certainly learnt a huge amount along the way. And that's something that I want to be able to share with others who are, perhaps at that point that, they're really enjoying what they're doing with the cards, and they feel that something is next, but they don't quite know how to make that next sort of leap into that unknown space of becoming a professional reader. Or, even for those who have already started charging for their readings and have a business, it's helping them to then create a professional business, I suppose, and taking it from being just a hobby or something that makes you a little bit of pocket money on the side into something that you take really seriously, and that you invest a lot of yourself into, knowing that you'll reap the rewards from that as well. So it's, whenever I talk business with my friends, I just, I can go on and on. It's something I'm just so passionate about, and I just love seeing other people getting really excited about their own businesses. So, in sort of a long way of getting there, but that's really what has motivated and inspired me to set up this tarot business coaching. And even just in the last week, I've been working with, I reckon there's at least sort of 7 or 8 people talking about their businesses and their goals and their visions with their business and what's been getting in their way, so that we can start to eliminate some of those blockages and then help them become super, super successful in what they're already doing. So that's, even just in this last week, having those conversations has been incredibly inspiring.
And it is an investment. It's a lifetime investment, because once people start getting into this, they realize all the different, it's not just a matter of card meanings. There's so many other aspects that get incorporated or can be. Not everybody's going to do or have interest in every aspect. One person might be interested in numerology and not like astrology, or vice versa. There's the Kabbalah, there's the Tree of Life. There's so many directions, and it's a constant learning process. You can be in the business doing cards, being a reader for 10 years, 20 years, and there's just so much out there to learn. Everybody has their own style of reading
Yeah.
as well. You have an interesting way that you got started and interested in the tarot cards at the age of 18. You want to tell us that story?
Bow, chicky, chicky, bow. So I remember, I was out with my friend, and I think it was, sort of in the afternoon, we're a little bit bored, and then we see, there's a shop there for offering tarot readings. And we're like, okay, let's go get our readings done, because both of us were headed over to Germany for a school exchange. So we went in, we had our cards done, and the one thing I remember from that reading was the Emperor showed up in the spread, and the woman said to me, "Oh, okay, so you're, on this trip over to Germany, you're going to meet someone who is incredibly important for you, and possibly your first boyfriend." And I was like, "Whoopee, this sounds good." And indeed, when I went over to Germany, fell in love, and no, it's not my current husband, but it certainly was, one of those first loves, and I could absolutely see how the Emperor was playing out. And it got me sort of thinking, okay, so maybe I could do this. Maybe I could learn how to read the cards, and then I could figure out what's going on in my life. And that's really what inspired me to get started. But if I just pick up on your point before about how many different systems there are in tarot, and whether you pursue astrology, numerology, Kabbalah, and so on and so forth, I think what often is really, confronting for new tarot readers is that there are so many different ways that you can read the cards, and there are so many systems that you think, I need to know that, I need to know that. And, if you're anything like me, I like to know stuff immediately. I hate sort of not knowing something and having to go through that long journey of learning. So certainly when I teach, newbies, I suppose, about reading cards, I say the most important thing is to focus. So just keep it simple and focus on the one thing that you need to learn so that you can do that reading for yourself. Kabbalah, I'll be honest, I don't know enough about it, but, Kabbalah can wait. I know there are people who disagree with me, but Kabbalah can wait. Knowing astrology can wait.
If we want to compare that to school, it would be like putting somebody from learning multiplication right into like calculus.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah. And yet we feel compelled to have to know everything, because it's this amazing mystery, secret way of doing things, and of course that's why you have to know everything, because otherwise everyone else would know it. And but yeah, I would just encourage people who are new to tarot to really pare it back and just focus on what is the most important thing to learn.
I want to give out the phone number. We are taking your calls normally. If you're a regular viewer, you're used to the calls being taken towards the end of the show. We're doing them throughout tonight. It's going to be a little shorter show this evening as well. So for those that are not directly in front of your screen but are listening from a distance and would like to call, the number is 615-692-1262. They're open now. Feel free and give us a call. As I said in the beginning, for those that maybe missed it in the intro, if you are calling for a quick reading for time restraints and to be fair to get everybody through that would like to come through, we need you to have a question, a specific question, and as opposed to just general, I have so much going on, what do you get? We don't have time for that during the shows. You can get a hold of either one of us through our website, for the in-depth, long, involved readings. So I just wanted to get that out there to you. You started Biddy Tarot back in '99, I believe?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we have a caller, ladies.
Okay. Hello,
Yes.
caller. Are you there?
Yep.
Hi, who is this?
George.
Hi, George. How you doing?
Okay.
How can we help you?
Can Biddy tell me about my business in the future?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm just going to draw you one card and we can go from there. Oh, fantastic. Love it. All right, we've got the Chariot. Just tell me, George, have you got any familiarity with the tarot, or would you like me to explain a little bit about the imagery before I go into the meaning?
Okay, I know there's lots of people calling in, so maybe a sort of abbreviated story or a little bit.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so the reason I just love the Chariot, he is so fiercely determined. He knows exactly where he's taking his business. He's got a very clear vision, very clear goals, and even though we see at the front we've got a white and a black Sphinx, and what that represents is the different or competing priorities that may come up, or, the challenges and the opposition. But despite having all of these, challenges or people trying to pull you in different ways, you are so clear on what you want to achieve. And if you're not feeling that way right now, then you need to be. And you can do that easily by setting very clear goals for the year ahead. And what better time than, January 2013 to set those goals. But I can just see such fierce determination, grit, resilience, and it will take you through to where you need to be. This is a highly successful card. So what fantastic energy to begin with.
And
Thank you very much.
I pulled one for you, George, as well. And my pull is the Knight of Wands in reverse that I'm holding up. And briefly for that, you are somebody with very fiery energy, somebody that gets driven. You see something, you go after it. What I am getting with this being in reverse, however, there's something specific regarding the business that you haven't done that fiery approach with. You've held back from doing something with it business-wise, and you're having doubts and things like that, and that's why this guy here is reversed.
Can you give me an idea of what it might be that I've been avoiding or not dealing with?
I can't with just one card, George.
Okay.
On this short notice, this is a general what you need to know.
Sure.
That when I put the card, but it's something related to pursuing to advance the business is what I'm getting psychically and intuitively, but more specifics than that, I would have to delve deeper. I don't
Sure.
have time for that.
Okay, thanks, Ed.
But I have a feeling you really do know what that is, that you're delaying.
Yeah, I don't actually know, but thanks anyway.
Okay. All right. Thanks
Okay,
for calling.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
And we have another caller.
I want to let everybody know that we are only able to take one caller at a time. So when you see somebody that we're on the line with, I need you to hold off on calling until we finish with the prior phone call, please. And if you're calling in, I need you to have the show turned down. I need the volume turned down and off on your computer because we'll get the feed and not be able to hear you.
Got another caller?
Caller, you there?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, who is this?
This is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Terrific, thanks. Did you have a question or want a reading from us?
Yes, I actually do have a question.
Okay.
Great.
I'm a novice. I'm trying to do the tarot cards to myself, about my relationship. And I received a lot of cups on my spread. I did the Celtic cross. And I kind of wanted a little bit more insight on that.
Yeah. So it's Bridget here. Okay. So Jennifer, you're drawing a lot of cups in your relationships, in your relationship spread. So that's a really great sign. And so did you say, I couldn't quite hear, did you say that you're drawing a specific cups card that keeps coming up?
Well, I get the Queen of Cups and I get the Six of Cups.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, the Queen of Cups is beautiful.
The Queen of Cups is you. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Thank you. She's so loving and compassionate, and she lives her life from her emotional self. So, when I see a Queen of Cups in a relationship reading, particularly as it relates to, you as the woman in the relationship, it's such a good sign that you are so ready to give and receive love. With the Six of Cups, so we often see the Six of Cups around, childhood memories, being drawn back to the past relationships. Is that relevant for you in terms of, maybe you are reconnecting with an old flame or thinking about old relationships?
You know what's funny is that I've been having a little bit of a rift with my brother and I threw the cards wanting to know about my current romantic relationship. But the more you talk, the more the cards are ringing maybe towards my relationship with my brother.
Yes, that's fantastic. Okay, so I'm thinking like right away, Six of Cups, we've got a boy and a girl, and they're playing beautifully together. They're harmonious. They love each other so much because they've grown up together. And, if you're experiencing some trouble with your brother right now, then you need to bring that energy of the Queen of Cups, which is so understanding, compassionate and loving, and truly get to understand what's happening in your brother's life. Like, why is he feeling he's got to act in this certain way? And why can't you go back to how you used to be when you were growing up and everything was, happy and blissful?
That makes perfect sense. I'm using your cross. And then the number 2 is the Six of Cups. And then the number 6 is the Queen of Cups. So that makes perfect sense.
Wonderful. Good.
I love your website. I follow you on Facebook, and I think you're fantastic. Thank you so much for your help.
Oh, thank you. Well, I can see you up there on Facebook as well. So, and I know that you're on there quite regularly. So I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Have a fabulous night, and I wish you much, much, much more success.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. And you have a good night too.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. We get that a lot, Bridget, where people are okay, I'm going to hold that thought. We have another caller. Are you there?
Hi, Misha. It's Tarot Title. How are you tonight?
I'm terrific, Title. How are you? And for everybody out there, Title is going to be my guest next week.
And I know Title from... Oh, thank you. Yeah, and thank you again for your support as well. I see you a lot on the Facebook page, so it's wonderful.
Well, I had a question.
Okay.
I haven't been pro for a long, long time, but I'm learning what shoes fit me, and I'm learning the things I'm doing right, but I can't put my finger on the thing I'm doing wrong that I need to pay attention to find my place. Because I'm finding lots of places that aren't me, and it's part of the journey, but there's something I need to look at that I'm missing.
Okay, can I draw a card for you?
Please.
All right, just bear with me.
What I want to say to that without me pulling a card, Title, at all, the very first thing I'm getting is wondering why you're trying to stress and focus so much on what isn't working. You know what's working. You know what you adapt to, what doesn't agree with you with reading, and that's part of getting your wings on and flying and going ahead with it, just like finding out which tarot decks we relate to and which ones we don't when we're deciding to buy our first deck. Why focus on negative? If you can't pinpoint what's not right, then maybe you've already handled that by finding out all the correct positive things.
Interesting. I just think that maybe my perspective, I might be missing something in terms of not seeing something, but I see your point, and I really learned a lot of the things that are working.
I've only done a brief reading for you, haven't gotten, all involved in impersonal and everything, but the one thing I'm going to say to you, Title, and please don't take this, negatively, because we all do it, especially when we're new and starting out. Bridget was a newbie. I was a newbie. At one point, we were in the same position that you're currently in, and you wonder and you doubt. And there comes a point when you have to stop doing that and know that what you're doing is working for you. What works for Bridget may not work for you, may not work for me. I don't know, this I think is the first time you're hearing it, but others may have from prior shows. I don't ever, even when I'm doing long, involved, paid readings, I do not ever use any set spread that you will find in any book. When I do my on the show, yes, I pull 1 card, 2 cards if there's time, sometimes 3 if we have time. Tonight, it's, only 1, that's all we have time for. But each of my readings for each client will vary on how I do it. I lay them out, a basic same way, but doing spreads found in a book never worked. And that was my first issue that I didn't realize. I was trying to get things like the Celtic Cross to work out, and it didn't. I couldn't, and I just figured I can't read. The Celtic Cross, everybody does. You go to fairs, that's what they do. They do the smaller version. And the problem was, I can't be structured. I'm not structured in life. God knows that. And I had to just do my own thing with each individual client based on what they needed. So I needed to say that, said it a little more lengthier than I wanted to, and you got with the card that I did pull while I was shuffling and yapping, the King of Wands reverse. So again, another court card like the prior caller. It's another Wands, and he's reversed. So you have the fire energy to go and do this. But you're lacking the confidence of the king. That's why he's on his head. And he is not sitting comfortably on his throne. You're doubting, you're questioning too much. Because if it's what I get from you intuitively, if it's coming too easily for you, you're questioning and doubting and thinking it shouldn't be this simple. And as I've said in other shows, one of the first things people need to learn to do when reading is trust your instincts and what you're getting. Okay, Bridget, go ahead. Sorry.
No, the card I've pulled just ties in so well with that. I've pulled the Page of Cups reversed. Now, when I pulled this, the thing that I immediately focused on was the fish that's leaping out of this cup. And I had this sort of body sensation of something like a lump in my throat that wanted to come out. And so it's quite bizarre. But the way I would interpret that is that I really feel it's already within you. Your intuition is already within you. You've got this inner voice that wants to come out in your tarot readings, but you've just got to express it and let it out freely, without judgment. And, you know, we know the Page of Cups, highly intuitive, highly creative, and ready to open his heart and just express. So, you know, think of like how you can do some more free-flowing readings. Maybe you prefer to do them speaking. I know that when I speak, the ideas just fall out of my mouth. Or maybe you prefer writing. Whatever will get your mind just flowing really freely. That would be my advice.
Well, thank you, because everything you said was right on target. It was just what I needed to hear. I love your book. I love Australia. I love Prisoner. That is a cool show. And I don't want to hog up the show because I know people want to talk to you. And your volunteer readers are awesome. The girl did a wonderful job for me. Thank you.
And looking forward to having you on as a guest next week, Tita. Get to practice it next week.
We'll have a great week.
We'll be doing this next week together.
I can't wait. Have a good week.
You too. Thanks for calling. Bye. That's one thing that is the hardest, and his question pertains to what you were saying a little earlier about how there's so many directions that you can go. There's the numerology, there's the people just get so overwhelmed at the thought of picking up the cards, and that they read all these different things about them, all these things that can be incorporated, and it scares them and turns some of them away.
And look, even if you say, I'm only going to interpret the tarot card from what I know, you go and look in a book and there's like 100 different explanations of what this card means. And not only that, you then need to figure out, like, if you are using structured spreads, okay, so this is falling in the external influences position. Oh my goodness, what does that mean? And the more we, I think the more we sort of overthink these things and go, oh no, what's this mean? Well, what's that mean? We're applying our sort of critical mind, and that can sometimes be to the detriment of allowing our intuition to work. And I know it just sounds so easy, but you really do just have to let go and allow your intuition flow nice and freely. Oh, I see a question here. How do I feel about free will and how it affects readings? That's an excellent question. Thank you. I'm such a strong believer in free will. I do believe we have sort of a journey or a path to take that may be predetermined in our lives. But when it comes down to, day-to-day living our lives and how we manifest that in our normal lives, I absolutely think we've got free will. We make decisions along the way. And if you do get a reading that says, big trouble for this relationship, you're going to run into all these roadblocks and obstacles, then more power to you, because you've just found out, okay, I can see these things coming up, they're potential challenges. I've got a choice now. I can either just let it keep going that way and end up, in the toilet, or I can make some proactive changes. I can remove some of these roadblocks. And I'm so glad I've had this reading, because now I feel really empowered. So I think free will and believing in free will helps us to feel a lot more empowered and in control of our lives. So, I'm definitely a believer in that one.
Absolutely. I've only ran across a couple readers that didn't believe in free will and felt whatever is gotten, it's set in stone, and it just amazed me. Like, how can you even read cards with believe free will does not exist?
Well, look, I always come from a place of each to their own. We all have such different styles, and I think we'll find the right clients who want to work with us. So I think most people like to feel empowered and in control. And we will, as readers, attract those clients if we, affirm our beliefs in those sorts of things like free will and so forth. Yeah. And you're right. We get the clients that need us. Yeah, absolutely.
We could pull the same cards for the same person for the same question. Each reader is going to do their own thing with it. One reader might read intuitively, one might read by specific definitions found in a specific book or the book that came with the deck. Others will use the Celtic Cross. Somebody else, like myself, won't use any set spreads, just, make it up so that it's personalized for that particular there's just so much. Some people won't use astrology or numerology or incorporate anything. What you get and what your abilities are, you've given what the person needs. That's
right. Yeah. And on my blog, I run a thing called Tarot Circle, and so someone will send in their reading and they'll send in their interpretation of those cards. And I take that and then I start to add some of my own insights and interpretations, and then I post it, and then I invite other people to come in and interpret that reading. And so we end up with, sort of 10, 20 different stories about these same cards. And it's just amazing to see, I guess, the light and shade in those readings. We see common themes that everyone's picking up on, but then different people will find a different angle in that reading and really start to explore that. And then I invite that person who shared their reading to come back and, give some feedback about how that relates to their life. And by the end of it, they've ended up with like this amazing multi-dimensional picture of their situation. And more often than not, there's never really anyone who's wrong per se. It's just that they've been able to look at it from a very different way, which I think is fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, it is, because it just grows and grows. And somebody that, might be drawn no color meanings, and they might end up being drawn to a specific dominant color that is more dominant. The imagery, the cup card that you had, you got attracted to the fish. Somebody else might look at that doing the reading, and they might be attracted. The cup is what stands out to them, or the water in the background. It's different for each reader. So the advice that I give is don't go around comparing yourself to what others do, because nothing in life is going to work the same way for each person, and tarot is just such a unique tool and instrument. You just have to work it the way that works for you. The business aspect of it. We've talked about, the people starting out the business. What advice do you have? What's your number one advice that you see yourself giving over and over again to those wanting to go ahead, do this as a business, do this full time, besides the fact that they need to be patient? It's not going to be anything that, happens overnight, and not many readers out there is able to do it full time and make a living out of it. The majority of them have to have, separate income coming in. So what is your advice, most common advice that you see yourself giving over and over again in regards to establishing yourself?
Yeah, look, I think you have to come into it being prepared to give. And when I say being prepared to give, I mean that in like a number of different ways. So obviously giving to your customers or to your readers, and that might be that you're delivering free content for a while to build up an interest or a community around your site. That's certainly how I've been able to build up Biddy Tarot. So you search for any tarot card now, and I come up number one, and you can get your tarot card meanings on my site. That's what drives so much traffic to my site and so much interest. And obviously all of that's been done for free, and that's years of study for me and writing. But I'm more than happy to share it, because I know that means that people will come to my site and learn more about tarot as well. So that, you know, that from that side of giving, even in terms of giving readings until you feel really confident in your own skills and you have that confidence to then feel like you're ready to charge for your readings. I think giving your time, like building a business takes time, as you said. And it takes smarts. You know, a lot of people sort of look at what I've been able to build myself and they go, oh, you're so lucky. Wow, I'd love to just do that. I'd love to get online and set up a website. And I think, yeah, I hope that you're successful, but you know what? It takes a lot of work to get here and, you know, you have to give a lot of time in order to get here. But once you do, it's absolutely worth it. So I think it's really committing to what you're doing and being prepared to give on so many levels. I'd say that's you know, probably my primary advice. I've got so much else in my head that I think are, you know, fantastic things to have as you set up a business. But, yeah, from that, I would definitely say on the giving side.
Absolutely, because you have to get yourself established. And especially with the reputation that this business and field has. And
you know what? I would also encourage collaboration because, you know, the more that we can partner with each other and as in like with other tarot professionals, I think the better. And there's a bunch of people that will not agree with me and want to pursue more of an individual business strategy, I suppose. But, you know, I really think it is important to spread the word about tarot, to support and encourage everyone else who's in the industry. There's 7 billion people in this world. We're not going to be stealing people away from each other by helping each other.
Exactly. Because you're not going to connect to every client anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd much prefer like a colleague of mine takes a client if we're not getting the right fit, because I want that client to get the the insight that they need, and that if they find they connect better with someone else, that's good. They're getting what they need.
Right. Yes. And we all have, if you're working together, you know what one reader is, you know, a plus at as opposed to another reader. Some strictly read the cards as fortune telling and predictions. Others, like myself, do it more for what is currently going on and like a consult advisor type thing. And that way having the variety of other readers in your little circle to work with, you know who to send what client to who based on their needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mom.
Hi. My 3-year-old has come in to say hello. It's funny, we did a post, was it last week, where we had Chloe sharing her insights as to what Mummy does as a tarot reader. So it was very well received. So now she's a well-known personality of the blog.
Well, hello. Are you still there, sweetie?
Do you want to say hello, Chloe?
Awesome.
And you'll be able to hear yourself tomorrow when the archive link goes up.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, but Chloe loves working with the cards herself. Actually, we have, you know, there's the Doreen Virtue Mermaids and Dolphins pack, and we sit there together and we have a look at the different pictures together, and we talk about what the different stories are in those cards. So yeah, you know, it works really well even with kids to start using things like the tarot early on. And you know, I just always get sort of funny about the whole idea of people thinking tarot is like voodoo and evil or what have you. But, you know, it's really just a bunch of cards with some pictures on it that help trigger our intuition.
It is. And that's what I was going to say to you as well. Did you have anybody in your family that ran or anything?
Not really, no. So my mum is a psychologist, and she laughs that I'm reading tarot cards now because she's very she's very right-brained, I suppose. So no, I wouldn't call her intuitive, but she did. She encouraged me with it, and she was the one that bought my first cards. Sorry.
Did she? Well, that's neat. The other thing that it's funny that she's a psychiatrist, because the other aspect we tend to run into is the fact that we aren't professional counselors. We're not psychologists or psychiatrists, at least, you know, the majority of us aren't. So that specific profession gets upset with us because they look at it as we're doing their job that they went to school for years and years.
Yeah.
For. That's the other side of it. And beginners need to also know these types of things, what to expect, because the negative beliefs is a big thing. People find out what you do. You might not be allowed, or not shoved out of groups or anything, depending on where you have them. But, you know, maybe church groups or something, you're going to start being treated funny by certain groups of people. You're going to be blackballed by certain people. People that you're friends with may stop speaking to you based on what their beliefs are. And that's the other aspect of doing this professionally, too, that people don't give any thought about. The psychiatrist-psychologist thing falls right along there as well. Professionals in other fields getting pissed at us.
Yeah. And isn't it a pity we can't just all get along?
I know. So what is your mom's cool with what you do then?
Yeah, look, I mean, she's always supported it. I think she's a healthy skeptic, though, I would say. And, you know, yes, she does think it's kind of like crazy that, you know, she has studied for all these years and, you know, we're almost doing similar things. But, you know, we're still in different fields. I think it's really important to acknowledge that professionals in terms of, you know, whether it is a psychologist, a medical professional, a financial advisor, you know, a legal professional, because, you know, these sorts of things do come up in readings as well. You know, those professionals have studied for years and years, and I think we do need to respect that their knowledge can be different and the structure of their thinking is different. But it doesn't mean that we can't offer some level of advice. But there are boundaries around what we can and can't say using the cards. So, you know, obviously I really encourage people to work on their own code of ethics when they're starting out reading, and to be very clear that if they do start to, say, give financial advice about a business, for example, that they are very clear in saying, I'm not a financial advisor, please seek financial advice as well as this reading. And I think when we respect those boundaries...
I just had an email come through a little bit ago, you know, before we came on the show. Emailed me, medical issues, reading, what do you know? I had to read about medical, you need a doctor.
Yeah.
And why? Well, number one, I don't know how it is over there in Australia, but here, it's illegal. You're not allowed to sit there and do medical advice as if you're a doctor. It's illegal here in the States. So different laws and things have to be looked at, and what is required for where you're at. Here in the U.S., from state to state, it can vary. From one state to another. How about over there? Is that an issue there for you?
I'm trying to think. Look, I don't know of specific laws around it, but I would certainly just be coming simply from an ethical perspective, no matter like what the sort of country laws are, I just wouldn't feel comfortable giving medical advice when I'm not in that position. I don't know enough. Especially you can't even see the person. And I mean, I know that there are medical intuitives that do an amazing job at it, but they're trained at what they do. I'm not trained in that.
Right,
in that
exactly. That's the difference, and that needs to be understood by everybody out there. But they also, what they don't have is past medical history of the person either. All of it plays a part. And another thing when we're getting into laws and things, people have to consider, this isn't 20 years ago where there was no internet and you had just your own immediate area and community to go to unless you traveled to get your clients. You're online. You're doing the mixer by Skype, by email, by one of the chat systems out there. In chat rooms, you're dealing with people worldwide. You don't know where they're located, and you don't know where they're located, what their laws might be. Yeah. So, regardless, with that reason, regardless of what, you may not have laws where you're at, somebody out there is going to. So, you still need to keep that in mind as well when you're deciding what you will and will not do. Age limits is another thing. Some people will use 16 as an age limit, some 18, some 21, some don't really care what the age is. They just change, how they read if they're reading for a younger child. Or whatever the age group is and what they're doing, there's tons of stuff to sit down and think about before going out there, buying the deck of cards, or maybe you already have them bought and I'm going to go set up, to do readings. There's a whole other world out there setting up to do.
Yeah. And, I think that's sort of where you start to see that transition going towards becoming professional. It's no longer sort of just having a few drinks and a bit of fun with your friends and the cards. It becomes, you are having to think about your legal obligations, your ethical obligations, how you present yourself, what your philosophies are and so forth, how you interact with your customers. Those things become a lot more serious.
You also have to understand, when you're doing it, messing around with friends and stuff, they're probably looking at it as, oh, this is neat, playing around.
Yeah.
You're setting up professionally, you're dealing with clients, they're coming to you with their tragedy, with their current problem and situation, and they take us at what we tell them. A lot of them out, so you have to really be careful.
Yeah.
How you are going to tell them information. You have to be able to handle the pluses and the minuses that show up when you're doing a reading, because I look at it as if I'm given information, it's information that the client needs to be told. Positive or negative. But it's how you go about presenting it to them, explaining it to them. You don't want to just, now this isn't going to work out for you, and they're devastated and they leave. This isn't going to work out for you because maybe you get the reason why and explain why, and look at what you can look out for in the future to move ahead, because this is all about spiritual growth and growing in our lives and improving, and one door closes, another one opens. So decide what it is you are going to do when you're doing a reading. And that's why I personalize my readings, because I'm not just going to look at the question that they're asking and say, yeah, it's going to work out, or no, it's not. I want additional information around it, no matter what the outcome is looking like. I want to know, well, what is the problem here? Why isn't this work? Maybe it's history repeating itself with the person and patterns that they need to keep watching out for because it's happening over and over again. That's things they need to know so that they can maybe hopefully prevent it from reoccurring.
Yeah, and I think that's the greatest power that we have as readers, is to empower our clients so they do walk away feeling like, okay, yes, there are challenges, but here are some things I can do, or here's what I can, I can change my outcomes if I want to. Yes,
it's not etched in stone at all, regardless of what it is. You have choices, and it's also not etched in stone, because if you're asking about a situation that isn't just you, it involves other people. They can turn, when we're doing a reading, we're connecting with the current, what is going on, the energies around it right now. One of the other parties suddenly changes or has their own traumatic event that can rearrange and reshuffle everything.
Yeah. It's all right, the butterfly effect.
And what pops into mind for that is somebody, thinking about, a job change. And they're asking right now the relationship how to, work things out. And it looks like, things are going good. This is just a little feud, misunderstanding that you had. It's temporary. You'll go through it. Next week, he turns around and he gets a call. He's being sent away for this great management opportunity with the company he's at. You don't have the abilities to move. Well, and then they say, well, you didn't know that. We weren't reading on him. We're reading on the person that is in front of us. So, you get that a lot as well. You can be right on the money, but people find other reasons why we were wrong. And you can't allow your ego to get involved when you're doing readings.
That's right.
What was your hardest thing when you were starting up? I mean, you had business background behind you, so setting up and getting a direction to set up for a business wasn't that much of an issue for you, I imagine. But what was?
I'm trying to think. I would say it probably was around confidence, and those fleeting moments where you think, oh my goodness, am I good enough? And, is what I'm writing okay? And am I actually on track? Or, and so that's what really prompted me to get a lot of feedback from my clients. So even now I urge my clients to fill in a survey after each reading, because I really want to know if I got it for you or I haven't. And that helps me then to feel a lot more confident as I keep progressing with my readings. And I think it was also the confidence to actually put the book down and just go with what my heart and my mind was telling me in a reading, and almost to forget what a traditional meaning of the card is, and just, you know, as I did before, you just let your eyes sort of run over a card and think, okay, what's getting my attention? What am I feeling in my body? What am I seeing in my head? What sort of phrases are coming to mind? Okay, where does that take me? And knowing what I know about this card, how does that all come into it? And you know, that's how you deliver a much more intuitive and in-flow reading. But again, it's something that takes practice. And, you know, certainly when I first started, it was just sort of fumbling around in the dark a little bit and thinking, just trying to do each piece as it was. But now it sort of comes together in this beautiful, harmonious way, which is great.
Yeah, the self-confidence is the big. That's the number one. Everybody goes through it. The one caller, as you heard. The other thing is the ego as well. And learning that you can't be biased, opinionated. You can't allow, if you're going to do this, you can't have personal beliefs. You know, maybe as a person you have one belief, one direction about, you know, bisexual, heterosexual, you know, what's right, what's wrong. You can't do that. You can't allow opinions to rule the reading. If you're seeing that happening, then you need to back away. And also this, I guess, falls into ego too, because I thought I knew better in the beginning. I've said this a few times on the shows. I'm an intuitive empathic, and I hear additional info when I'm doing the cards. And I started doing it, and I'd be doing a reading, say, about a job. And all of a sudden, I would get, you know, red convertible or dark basement or, you know, some kind of small phrase in my head that had absolutely nothing to do with the subject that I'm talking about with the client. And I would not say it. And I would attempt to continue to do the reading, and it would get louder and louder until I blurted it out. And I, you know, naturally with doing it, I've learned when you get told, or visions for those that get their info that way, you need to go with it because it's something important to the client. It may not pertain with the topic at hand, but it is important to them, and it's info that they need to hear, because it's something that ends up needing to be addressed. And fighting it by not doing it, that is a part of ego, because we want to think, you know, we know better. This is what I'm doing. Yeah. So you have to let go of all of that.
Yeah. And look, you know, even if you feel a bit silly, like if you're having red convertible coming into your head and it just doesn't fit what's in front of you at the time, you know, you can just say, this word keeps appearing. I don't know what it means. It's red convertible. What does that mean for you? At least, you know, if they go, nothing, then you go, okay, well, that's cool. At least we've got it out there on the table, and, you know, no doubt sort of 5 minutes later, you're already starting to talk about red convertibles. But, you know, there are ways to express these things without feeling silly about it as well, right. if you're feeling a little bit sort of self-conscious, I suppose.
And it's okay to do that. I do it all the time. I'm like, okay, and then look at me, what's the matter? And I'm like, until I tell you this, I cannot continue with the reading. I have no clue what it means, but I'm getting red convertible. Half the time when it's a reading like that and that happens, all of a sudden they'll just burst out crying. The majority of the kids, they start crying. They're like, oh my God, how did you do that? So it is something relevant.
And yeah, they're often turning points, aren't they, for a reading? It's when you feel like there's things coming into your mind and you're thinking, oh, it sounds a bit silly, I'll say it anyway, and then that's this little hook or this connection that you make with your client, and suddenly the readings become incredibly connected, and they're amazed at, like you said, how do you know that, and yet in your head you were going, oh, should I say it, shouldn't I say it?
You're arguing with that the whole place. They don't know it. They're just thinking, why is she pausing? But it gets louder and louder until you say it. So you just, you hear it and you just blurt it out the first time. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different aspects with doing this professionally, whether you want to just try it out part-time, and that's all you ever want it to go, or if you want to go full force, full-time, as Bridget and many others have done. And don't be, some people are ashamed they think they're too good. Oh, everybody charges, $100 an hour or whatever. I'm not going to do $15. When you're starting out, you have to. Everybody started out on a lower end. And face it, here in the U.S., the economy is going to pot. So you have, all aspects play into that, because that's another question. How do you figure out what you're going to charge? Each person play around with that. It also, I noticed, the environment where you're reading tends to take a toll in determining what to charge. Well, it's been over an hour already, Bridget. I want to let you get out there what you have upcoming that you want to let everybody know about. I know they go to your website. They can sign up for your newsletter.
Yeah. So, if you head on over to biddytarot.com, and you'll no doubt see on the right-hand side a place where you can sign up for the weekly newsletter. And that's as, simple. I send out a weekly tarot card and a couple of tarot tips for that week as well. And obviously you'll find all the tarot card meanings on the site, but if you want to get even deeper into those card meanings, there's the Ultimate Guide to Tarot Card Meanings. Or if you're looking at learning tarot, I obviously recommend Tarot Foundation's 31 Days to Read Tarot with Confidence. And always stay connected via Facebook. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Biddy Tarot, and I post there probably a couple of times a day. And no, I don't post, what I'm eating or, I'm doing the laundry right now. I often share some really cool tarot posts that I'm finding out on the internet, or, different insights and so forth. So it's good to connect on there as well. And I must say, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure, and it's great to connect with those callers who were asking for readings or advice. It's fantastic.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time to come on. It's already Thursday for you over there in Australia.
As we were saying, it's like being in the future.
Yes, with a time warp here. I want to thank you for coming on. You're fabulous, and like I said, so many people know you. As you said, it's not bragging. You are the first one that comes up on the search engines, and you and I have, from what I read when I was starting the same thoughts on the cards and things, because like I said, I was going for a different perspective and I wasn't getting that too much. More detailed, but not a different perspective, and that was part of the connection that I also had with you and the site, plus all that you do for the community besides, and the help that you give to people out there looking for a reader, looking to learn how to read the cards, looking to set up a business. I don't think there's anything missing from your site in regard to that.
Oh, I've got plenty more ideas.
I wouldn't be able to
abundant
keep
with
up the
ideas.
Me and tech stuff really are horrible. Well, I guess unfortunately, we need to call it a night.
Great. Well, again, I appreciate it, and thanks for the welcome back as well. And so hopefully I might be back again. That'd be fun.
Yes, I'd love to have you on. Let me know, especially if you have anything upcoming that you really want to get out there. Buzz me up anytime with an email or Facebook me. Not a problem.
Great.
I want to thank everybody out there for joining. If you're regulars, thanks for coming back. If you're new, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. And next week, I will have Tarot Title on. We will be discussing, of course, tarot again in all different angles. He is newer to being a professional reader, so it's going to be, a very interesting show. It's not going to be the norm show that you see when I have my guests on each week, that are, well known and established and things like that. This will be a whole different show. So you want to make sure you're here next Wednesday night again at 9. And there's constant shows. You want to look at the schedule because there's shows on every night of the week, for what interests you. With that, have a great night and a fabulous week, and I'll see you back here next Wednesday